Upwine seeks enabling environment to encourage girls' interest in STEM fields. And a former president of the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria, Upwine, Dr. Felicia Agubata, has called for the creation of an enabling environment that will encourage girls and women to develop an interest and thrive in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. Women and girls in science and engineering. That's the Building the Future Pipeline. The Insight Series is an initiative of Upwine aimed at fostering women and girls in STEM, promoting professional development and enhancing technical knowledge. Well, there's been this discussion for a while that it's better if the sciences are taught in the mother tongues, that it will enable the students to understand more. And today being the cultural day, maybe the discussion, sometimes we move from just talking about the Omoluabi, talking about the language and all of that, to really having discussions in how the indigenous language could foster better understanding of the sciences and technology. What's your take, Sunday?
Of course, it's a very good step.
All right, still on the Guardian newspaper, we have this one. Let there be free, fair, and credible elections, says who? Here we have the story. Notwithstanding the heated public concerns generated by the amendments in the Electoral Act 2022, President Bola Tinubu signed the law, the new act, on Wednesday, February 18th, closing the legislative chapter on contentious electoral reforms, but ushering in fresh uncertainty ahead of the 2027 general elections. For many observers, the move ultimately placed the burden squarely on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to implement disputed transmission provisions. The development formally establishes the legal framework for conducting the general elections, just days after INEC released the official election timetable. Well, while all appears to be set for the 2027 elections in terms of the enabling law, mistrust, concerns, a growing apathy will linger and further jeopardize participation in the elections, as witnessed in the FCT polls. Well, that will be from the Guardian.
All right, now let's check some other stories again from the Punch newspaper. India deports over 2,356 Nigerians in 5 years. A few paragraphs that the government of India deported at least 2,356 Nigerians between 2019 and 2024, with removals quadrupling from 339 in 2021 to 1,470 in the 2023-2024 fiscal year. This is according to data obtained from India's Ministry of Home Affairs. The figures were drawn from three separate annual reports for which Nigeria-specific data is publicly available. In the most recent reporting period from April 2023 to March 31, 2024, Nigerians emerged as the most deported nationality from India, accounting for nearly 2/3 of all foreign nationals removed from the South Asian country. Indian authorities deported over 2,331 persons during the period, with Nigerians representing 63% of all removals carried out by the foreigners' regional registration offices across 7 major Indian cities. They include Kolkata, Mumbai, New Delhi, Chennai, Amritsar, Bangalore, and Hyderabad. The figure places Nigeria ahead of neighboring Bangladesh, which recorded 411 deportations, and Uganda with 78 deportations. Details in the Punch newspaper.
All right, let me take you to The Nation. On The Nation newspaper, we have this. Wike poll outcome has shown ruling party real opposition. Minister for the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, yesterday said the outcome of Saturday's area council elections in the territory has shown Nigerians the ruling party and what it described as the real opposition in the country. Wike spoke in a broadcast on national television and radio stations yesterday evening, where he commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for what he described as the peaceful conduct of the elections. Wike said the outcome of the polls reflected the confidence of residents in the current administration and the democratic process being promoted by the federal government. Let's quote this. It says, the peaceful conduct of the election is a testament to the commitment of the people of the FCT to democracy and good governance, the minister said. And still on the nation, let's check some other headlines from the nation here. Okay, Sunday, maybe you take the next.
All right. Still returning now to the Punch newspaper. Let's check some stories from the crime and metro arena and see what efforts security agencies are making in ensuring that everything goes well, especially in terms of security. Now, residents of Iluabo in Akure North local government area just over the weekend protested what they called incessant security challenges in the area. They're calling on the Ondo State Police Command to please wade into the matter. The most recent is the kidnap of a couple, and during the attack, one person was said to have been severely wounded. They said that the incident is making them have sleepless nights. Details you find in the Hope newspaper and, of course, in some of the national dailies. All right, how police stray bullet killed two in Lagos community. That's according to eyewitness. Let's check some paragraphs there. Two motorcycle passengers were killed by a stray bullet allegedly fired by a police officer during a stop and search operation along the Lagos-Ogun boundary on Old Ota Road. An eyewitness has said the witness, who requested anonymity due to the sensitive nature of the incident, said the shooting occurred at about 5 p.m. when officers had flagged down a vehicle that allegedly refused to stop. One of the officers reportedly fired a shot in the direction of the fleeing vehicle, which struck the two motorcycle passengers. Of course, details you find in the Punch newspaper this morning.
Still on the nation, by-elections results referendum on Tinubu presidency. Lagos State chapter of All Progressives Congress (APC) says it wishes to express profound appreciation to the people of Rivers and Kano States, Federal Capital Territory, and Nigerians at large for their overwhelming support for APC in the just concluded by-elections. The party, in a statement yesterday in Ogba, Lagos, by its spokesperson, Sheye Oladejo, said the outcome of the by-elections across the affected constituency stands as a clear and unmistakable referendum on the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the progressive ideals that continue to guide governance in our nation. And that will be it.
All right, we'll place a rest on that segment of the show this morning. When we return, it'll be time to look at the days of yore of broadcasting in Ondo State, especially as the state now clocks 50. Let's look at what it was like and then the challenges and the prospects for broadcasting in Ondo State. We'll be right back, everyone. Please stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. And of course, an average broadcaster is a repository of knowledge in not just one field, but in many fields. That's why they say a journalist must know a little about everything and everything about a little. And that's what has been happening before we came back from that break. It was a brainstorming session, as it were, talking about an aspect of life. And so we have a veteran with us this morning, one of the very pioneer members of staff of the Osrc Division Corporation, Osrc. Well, he's not tired, totally tired, but then he's still agile, hit and hearty. Venerable Nelson Faduji joins us this morning. It's good to have you join us on him today.
Thank you very much, presenters. I greet you and I salute all our viewers at home. Yes, always a broadcaster. Forever.
Just like they say, once a soldier is always a soldier. Once a broadcaster is also always a
forever. That is it. It is in the blood.
If I'm correct, it's safe to say that you've seen broadcasting for the better part of the last 50 years.
Yes.
And so you've seen, well, I don't want to subscribe to the angle of people say the good, the bad, and the ugly. But then, it is what it is. You've seen all the sides of broadcasting. I'd like to know, what exactly would you consider as the strongest foundation of broadcasting laid 50 years ago in Ondo State?
Thank you very much. We cannot speak about a foundation of broadcasting in Ondo State without laying a proper foundation of it, even right from the beginning. The beginning now from Western region or Western State. Because when we are talking about broadcasting, in fact, when we look at how broadcasting started, either from 1922 or 1931 or 32, when we actually started radio in Nigeria, or even 1959 October, when television started in Ibadan, all this put together, right from Ibadan, WNBS, WNTV, WNBS for radio, WNTV for television, started. Before then, we were doing rediffusion. You will know that that small box, in fact, that time they used to call it a jet because people wanted to look at what is inside that is speaking, because it was new as at that time. But later on now, with modern facilities and other things now, people now begin to realize that it is not a jet or witch that is inside. That
human being
is a human being. That we could liken it to the fact that probably dress like a masquerade, but you may not see it is human being that is inside that is speaking. So from that time when we started, because I did not, it was not from Ondo State. I started from Ibadan. We called it then NBC, Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, or NBS, Nigerian Broadcasting Service, which is inclusive of even the foreign something that we used to transmit from that time. So it was from there that we now brought broadcasting to Ondo State. But probably before that time, immediately after the creation of the state, some of the indigenes of Ondo State moved down. Some stayed at Ibadan. So they came down to Ondo. In fact, the office then was along that Stadium Road where we started. But because as at that time it took some stages, step by step, it was not just immediately.
So you are part of those
we had a link at Ifaki. We were linking Ifaki with Ibadan before. So it was that link at Ifaki, because as at the time when broadcasting started, we did not move all equipment down en masse. So some of the production that we were having will be brought from Ibadan to join with the one here. You know that, as I said, only few staffers first of all came. Later, some others were coming in 1977 and later 1978. As at that time, those of us also that came through NBC, now FRC and Radio Nigeria. So the state government said that that time we have settled down. We had our administrative office at Arakale, our transmission studio at Hospital Road by the right before getting to Aquinas College. So later now, since we have gotten a broadcasting outfit for Ondo State, the new Ondo State, the federal government decided again that okay, we want to go to the north or we want to go to Lagos or back to Ibadan, that we should go back to Radio Nigeria. And then when the government heard of that, they requested for us that we should be part and parcel, because in the very first, second and third year, we were still recruiting. In fact, bringing new people inside, apart from those of us that came from Ibadan. So that was how. And that time, when we left Stadium Road, which was the first administrative office, it was Obaile that was the main station where we have all other departments, including the mosque that was sited there. And it was from there now we started the transmission. It was later in 1981 we started planning for television again. And by the grace of God, in all of this, I used to be pioneer. Pioneer in NBC, FRCN, pioneer also as part of OSBC, Ondo State Broadcasting Corporation, as it was called that time. And again, now when they decided that, okay, we should have television, I was a pioneer in staff, along with other from Obaile. So we moved. That was how television was established. And we have our transmitter and studio that time at Okeda. Old secretariat there, where we have the course now.
Wow.
That was where the studio, it was just about a room and parlor and the man, because it was built, that man was built and placed on a high land, because that place you could see that it is on top like a mountain. So that one also added to the power of the transmission, to the extent that, because I could remember when I went to the University of Ife at Ile-Ife, whenever I was trying to go out and so on, people will be saying, because they were looking at my program, I think probably that time it was BOA, because that program was very fantastic, which I created. I created about 75 to 80% of my own production, all through, over 150 to 200, apart from the one that may be official. Like grade A broadcasting, if you want to broadcast, if you want to go to cover the governor or documentary, etc.
If I leave you like this, you keep going down.
Yes.
Because indeed, in the days of yours, of all the names and achievers, are always filled with stories and stories to tell. But then you've touched on some things that really pinch me somehow. One, there were logistic challenges.
Yes, there was.
And second, there were also manpower challenges.
There was.
So how were you able, you were pioneer, some other people were pioneering with you too. How were you all able to maneuver your way through these challenges to be able to lay a solid foundation for what broadcasting is now in Ondo State?
Thank you very much. When we started expanding, first with Ondo State Broadcasting Corporation, it was at that point now later that they said that, okay, already, as I said, in 1981, but it started really because the planning started in 1981 for OSTV, the television, but it took off in 1982. So from there, some of the staffers that were deployed from radio at Obaile to television, you know, when we want to transmit 19 hours or 24 hours, we could not cope. Because you know that definitely we have so many departments and so on. In fact, some other departments were added. You know, the library is there, thank God. By the special grace of God, I passed through all these section departments on in media station. The library, I was one the head of a radio library. The television, I was one the head of a television library. Later, even on radio, when television came along with the radio, then it became OSRC, Ondo State Radio Vision Corporation, because initially Ondo State Broadcasting, OSBC. Then then later, when the OSCV came, they now said that we should have the radio as ODR, Ondo Radio. Ondo Radio. So it was at that point we started recruiting, apart from those that also came from the NBC. So we started recruiting to each of the section, department and so on, like presenters, producers, what do we see, costume officer, graphic officer, on and on like that, to announcer, DCA, continuity announcer.
Wow, from your illustration, I can just, I'm trying to imagine having your studio somewhere, the admin another place, and you know, the corporation scattered to different ends of Akure now, you know.
Sorry, the television arm has its administrative office at Alagbaka, very close to Central Bank.
So how do you people navigate?
That is it. That time also we can thank the government in power that time. In fact, a department will have about at least 2 vehicles.
Okay.
A department, at least 2 vehicles.
Right.
With that we were. In fact, that time we were paying artists. If you come to join any program, you are invited as a guest artist on a program, we will prepare your voucher.
Wow.
And then you will receive money.
Okay, those are the good days.
I won't give you money for
Even staff, you will use your. It got to a point that you will be using your money because when there was no vehicle, and that is part of the credit I will give to the DG now. The DG of OSRC, Kenneth Olushola, because I used to follow what is happening. Because when you retire from a place, I retire 35 full years by the special grace of God. Then you look back. If there is joy, you yourself will jump for joy.
Of course, we'll get through
we'll get back to that. Yes, talking about the journey so far. You know, you mentioned some programs that you handled, that you conceptualized, produced, or presented. Now let's look at OSRC. What was the first voice? Who was the first voice we had on this channel, and what was the program?
Thank you very much. On radio, our general manager that time was Chief Ogunbade. He himself is an announcer. He's used to cast the major news. Then later, our controller then, who later became a director, even at the OSTV program department, Jayekuye, also was casting the news as the very first for English. And then for Yoruba, Igejongbo, Tony Oloketuyi, in that regard. But when we got to television, it was Bamikole Kinlami.
Okay, so it was the news that was first.
Exactly. Usually. Later there were other programs like a musical program, Evergreen, Memory Lane, which was handled by Mr. Iman Admoshi, who later even doubled as a head of music and drama. I was his assistant, and when he left there, I became the head of. I came from Talks and Feature. We don't usually have all this something, and they are very necessary when we are talking about broadcasting. Talks and Future, music and drama, Yoruba, presentation unit, library, etc. Put together, all these things. Talks, and so on like that. That is where even magazine will come in, documentary will come in, drama will come in, and so on and so forth.
You've touched on something critical, and that's the intersection of departmental roles in broadcasting. You've talked about the way and manner many sections and units were created in those days.
Yes.
Do you see that as a minus in the contemporary developments in broadcasting these days, when fewer hands are expected to multitask and also migrate across all of these units and sections in the contemporary broadcasting structure?
That is what is killing the broadcasting now, with prayer hands. Even though that time when we did not have enough hands, you must be jack of all trade and master of all. You must be the script writer, you must be the producer, you must be the presenter. Only when you want to go that time, because of the fact that the equipment were too heavy to carry. Is it the UA? Is it the midget? We will have somebody, an officer handling the midget, the microphone rather. Then the person that will even handle the midget, which is very heavy. What of the lightning? On and on. To the extent that for you to go for a production, at least about 4 or 5 we go. But today now, only a person or two, a presenter or a producer or one others can be of assistance to that.
Courtesy of
technology. That is it. Courtesy of technology.
So how then is it killing broadcasting?
Yes. What is killing broadcasting is in the content aspect of it and laziness.
Content and laziness.
Yes, content and laziness. Because as you can see me now coming here with documents. With documents. That's why the fact that I've retired since 2012 now, going to about 15 years now, you hardly can you see me, because that is it. You must be jack of all trade and master of all. When you are going as a producer, even when you are going in street, you must go with your pen and your book. But today now, you can see the type of program that is on airwaves now. Phoning. Where are documentaries? Where are magazines? Where are talks? They miss everything. They model everything up. The sessions that we used to have that usually make for a better broadcasting or production that time, they are not there. We just see somebody, we just got, even where is writing of a music log. In those days, you will write 3 in triplicate. You will hold one, the person on the council will also have one, you will keep one in the library. And that is to guide you as to not repeating music or artist. Because today, it's just body repeat. Because your music must match your production. Whatever you, in fact, even if peradventure there was a failure of program, you must compile the appropriate music that match the philosophy of that program. We don't just put in any other music. That is it.
Looking at today now, you mentioned that some sections of broadcasting that ensure that things were thoroughly done as at then are no more now. The advancement of technology. For instance, the library. Is the library, do you think the library's place in broadcasting, how essential is it? Is it something that, can be done away with?
The library cannot be done away with. At times, even, you see, in law, I'm a lawyer, in law, when we refer, just like the National Library, if there's anything that is amiss, they can either refer to the National Library for document, or they say that they should go and check at the library of a media station. That is keeping archival for you to know the relevance. Most all these things that we are doing now, even the production of this 50th anniversary of broadcasting in Ondo State should be kept. When you want to produce whether magazine or documentary program, we should go back to the library to search. Even in writing, because I study both electronic and print media, both in Nigeria and abroad, one way or the other. So there is how to, if you as a reporter or editor, you want to write a story, that is where you make a research. You go back. How? You go to the library, and they must be properly labeled, numbered, for you to search. You look at the searching log, and then from there, that is to show you the extent of the importance of. You cannot say because there's technology now, and then you do away with a library. No, that's all production must be there.
If it is compulsory to still keep a physical library, especially in the face of technology, where you could save files, label them accordingly, back them up on cloud and many other devices as storage.
You see, the compilation of all these things should emanate from one source. Even from the cloud, from whatever. Don't forget that anything can happen. To even cloud at times, there is a disappointment. So in all these things, you must have them. Like if a governor make a broadcast now, or on special or special documentary. Yes, you may say that you keep them, but we can have media library. There was a time I went for a course at University of Ibadan, non-linear media, and that is for library. That is part of information technology. So you must have them. You see, there should be somebody that it is not only the producer. For you to keep your something in the cloud, you keep your something in the cloud, he keeps his own something in the cloud. There should be a central body, to the extent that if eventually anybody want to even check for something, it is from there that they will start to Google and then search and then bring it out.
But the retriever is more convenient via technological means than the physical means you're talking about.
Don't forget, because you see, I also study media law. Even when I went to study media ethics, media law, media theology or political theology, put together in abroad. You see, because if you don't want to run foul, thank God that we have a police body now, the NBC. You don't just anything that will be transmitted must come from an approved source. Don't forget that it is not all things that are on the net that should be on, because it can come as a libel and slander, whatever, writing or anything that is coming from the mouth. That, yes, you may say that it is convenient, but you may put the station into problem. It must be certified. And then when we have it in our centralized media library, it may for a perfect
how well is NBC doing its job? That's on one hand.
Okay.
What is your take on the issues of the proliferation of radio stations and television stations in Nigeria? That's on one hand. You would answer those when we return from this break.
Thank you.
Please stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.
Is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Bonvita, prepare them to win every day.
Welcome back, everyone. It was a break there, but then it was not a break here. As former supervising producer was also reminiscing, and then one of the mentees was saying, Baba will say, "Where is your music law? Where is this one?" Where? Of course, you could see how we've been milking this very tram all along, because it's indeed loaded. Venerable Nelson Father, thank you so much for sitting with us.
Thank you very much.
You were talking about the policing system in the broadcast firmament, the NBC. It has also come under severe hammer in some climes. Some feel that the NBC has now become, in some respect, a toothless barking dog, especially when it comes to the issues of not implementing or enforcing its own rules and regulations in the face of political infiltrations. Do you share that notion?
We can look at it like a coin that has two sides.
Okay.
Just, I think it was either early this month or last month, January, because they said that we want to produce a new code by the NBC, and I have to contribute to it because we were sent. They sent to us at the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters, they sent to us at Bonn and so on, which I belong, on and on. It is good. Yes, there may be freedom, but the freedom must not be licensed as a freedom of Adamasiba Stadium.
How do you do
there is
that?
Yes,
Unchecked freedom, you mean?
Yeah, that is it, because you know you have to use as a literally somebody exactly. There is the need for us to have a police, because if we allow anything to go anyhow, it will spoil the game, especially broadcasting. Yet broadcasting should have rules, because the ethics, even though as we have the national rules, we must also have the internal rules that should guide one way or the other. But rather, they have politicized it. In my submission, I pointed to them that yes, even if you are a police, that they must be friendly. You cannot be shutting down station anyhow. Say that because they run further, somebody, you invited somebody. You see, in law, there's what we call opinion. When somebody is giving opinion, you don't have to gag the station from where that opinion came. Today now, you will see, immediately when somebody, you invited the guest, and then after speaking now, you will see another caveat that you see the opinion of this disclaimer or something like that. Exactly. Because one thing they don't realize is that the media generally belong to the public. Even if it is owned by the government, you should allow people to make their own opinion. It can even help the government, not when you now guard them. So there are many rules. When I was the general manager and the CEO of Eki FM, I used to tell them, because within a week you will be seeing players and sending something, even especially, hey, you must not do this thing, hey, before it is 2 minutes, hey, a presenter cannot produce a commercial something, hey. And you don't allow us the freedom. Even you gag us as to the power of a transmitter that we own. For a commercial station, how do we want to make the money? And when somebody you claim that he has, you are the accuser, you are the judge. That was why the Society of Nigerian Bokara took them to court and we won. It shouldn't be at all. You see, the Society of Nigerian Bokara is fighting the cases of media houses, but people don't know. For example, now like the payment of licensing fee, no, it's not to be for the local government. What contribution is the local government making to broadcasting, to the extent that they will be claiming the licensing fee? We have taken that one to court and we have won. So we now want to look at how the thing should be centralized, and if any payment that is coming out of that should be shared by radio and television station. So most of the things that they are saying, and that is the more reason for NBC, they should allow only the professional to be there. The professional that will not be biased politically.
Okay.
Okay, we're still talking about doing things rightly in the broadcasting world. If you look at the quality of broadcasting now compared to what you had when you were in service, you know, and given that we now have these online space, you know, where everything flies. We have broadcast, we have the NBC, gargling, as you said, traditional media. Whereas if you don't want it transmitted traditionally, you find it on digital stations, you know, and all of that. And sometimes it also limits the income of this traditional media. Now let's talk about the quality of broadcasting. How can the traditional media, you know, have some flexibility, you know, widen their scope to accommodate more programs, you know, that the audience of today wants to view or listen to?
It is quite possible if peradventure you follow the rules and the ethics of the job. So simple a thing. But it is only when you want to do your own thing in your own way without following the laid down principle that a station or a producer or a presenter or a broadcaster or a communicator runs into problem. Yes, today now we have so many stations. He asked that a question. In Yoruba they will say, it is not the number of how many stations that we have, even though they are not yet enough. We still need more.
Really?
Yes, it must be expanding, because you can go to certain area now that you don't have even a radio station, or because of the fact that they even gag as to the number of kilowatts, the strength of the kilowatt, because they will say that no, only 2 kilowatts. And they forget that our environment doesn't so much allow for free flow of transmission. where you have trees, mountains, and so on. They are blocked to your transmission, and we want to make money. There is hardly a station, especially if it is commercialized. If it's not a campus radio, if it is commercialized, you are to make money. But when they don't allow your transmission to go beyond your locality, how are you going to make it? Nobody, no client will want to come to give you any advert or a sponsored program for you to make that money. So for those that are online, thank God now the rules is there by law. That one is not gagging. But for NBC to see that all these people do it, and that is where the difference comes. That is part of what even Society of Nigerian Broadcasting is trying to make. Because the moment that you become a member and then you are satisfied professionally, then you belong. Because how can we be helping NMA? How can we be helping NBA? How can we be helping ACCA? The accountants, the engineers, the doctors, and so on. And those of us who are in the broadcast media will not have our own professional body. It is an insult. Even though we started in 1962. Society of Nigerian Broadcasters, and in 1994 we registered it with CAC. But to professionalize it, you know that it must pass through the National Assembly. That one has been approved by the special grace of God. It has been approved by the National Assembly. But now we want, so it is from there that you will be able to differentiate who is who.
Okay.
And those people that you refer to now, who have even gone either on online and so on, who are not rigidly following the rules, that is where we'll be able to draw out who is who in broadcast media. Because if you are a professional, you have worked with the state or federal media, because those are the people that is being recognized by NBC. And those are, because it was a joint decision of the BOM, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, NBC, Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, that joined hands with Society of Nigerian Broadcasters to form that body. So it is only this body that is recognized as a professional body. Don't forget that Ratawu is a union. Don't forget that NUJ is a union.
Okay, what's the
professionalism we are talking about? And Society of Nigerian Broadcasters embrace everybody in all the departments of the media: admin, engineering, program, news, commercial, etc. coming together to form that body. Thank God that even the DG of NTA is there, the DG of FRCN is there, the DG of Force of Nigeria is there, all the executive directors in various national stations, they are there, including the state station and so on. Even former commissioner of information who are recall communicators or broadcasters, they are there. So with this now, and then with training, we have them here, training even up to abroad. Within the last 2 years, we have been to Italy 2 times. You can see, even including engineering, you can see technology, digital courses, on and on like that.
That is Father Julius. Let's come back to the issues of have a decade history line of broadcasting. You touched on the issue of proliferation of broadcast outfits that I raised at the time. Yes. But let's go a bit further there. You enjoyed monopoly, as it were, when broadcasting started. The competition, whether healthy or unhealthy, was not there. Okay. Now, in the face of healthy and unhealthy competition that we now find in the broad firmament of broadcasting in Nigeria, yes. What do you think the proliferation of broadcast outfits is? A blessing or a curse?
It is a blessing. Why? You cannot allow broadcast outfit to be only for the government. You know that time that you refer to government's own radio, government's own television. So from there, people is disallowed to even make comments, because you know that the executive director or DG or whoever or general manager will want to follow government. He who pays the piper dictates the tune. But with the proliferation of a media station, radio, television, and online, people are able to air their opinion, and that is how it should be. Don't forget that I said the other time that the media is owned by who? The public. So it is a blessing in this house.
All right.
But the unhealthy competition you find in the space, the unprofessional acts you also find in some spheres.
Okay.
How do we deal with that?
That is part of what, now even with the new NBC code that we are embarking upon now, it will spell out some of these rules to the extent that those people, either the private or whatever, that are doing this business, they must conform. The rivalry, there's nothing wrong with the rivalry. It is we, the practitioners, that are fighting one another, that are not making it real the way that it should normally be. But if we are able to follow the laid down rules and principle and the ethics, normally there shouldn't be.
All right, let's make some reflections. So we're still celebrating Osrc at 50. Safe to say that the station began almost immediately after the establishment of the state as well. So it's just like twins, you know, two little ones. So how did the corporation help shape the image of Ondo State for these 50 years?
Thank you very much. You see, when we talk of a state that is brutish, either a state in a country or a country as a whole as a state,
okay,
when we say it is brutish, that is to show that when things go wrong, who can shape this thing? It is the media. Because the media serves as an intermediary between the government, the rulers, and the people, one way or the other. Yes, things may be wrong. Well, in those days, when they mentioned that certain thing happened, they will ask you, have you heard on radio? Have you heard on television? That is to show you the extent of the importance of a media station, radio, television, or newspaper, one way or the other. But if we say that, okay, we should not disseminate news, we gag them and so on, we are gagging the freedom of the masses. So, and in this state in particular, if you know the role that the media has played in the expansion of the development of Ondo State, they are uncountable. Because it is, you know that even how will you know the performance of a state governor without radio and television? Not at all. You know that even if they want to go and urinate, you will carry. If they want to go and do this, you must carry. You let people know. And then at the same time, the feedback, ayé àtijọ́ láti ń sọ pé asọ̀rọ̀ má gbèsì, asọ̀rọ̀ gbèsì ó ti wà báyìí. And that one will gear up whoever is the chief executive to do the needful. So you can see from there that either the radio or television, they are very important, and they have helped us shaping that. And that was what Chief Obafemi Awolowo had in mind when he established in October 1959 the television. They said that, and then we can use it even this time of a digital or technology age. We can use it for agriculture. You know that on the media, thank God, we used to have I know that definitely we still have a program of farming, like that. You will have for health. You will have for education. You will have a tolerable for law. You can see now all these things because the media is a teacher.
Now let's go a bit faster now. Looking at the issue of courageous broadcasting, let's talk about the issue of self-censorship. While the NBC plays its own role to ensure professionalism, fair, objective reportage of issues, and so on and so forth, there's also the concern that in some quarters you find broadcasters, especially in government-owned organizations, self-censoring themselves in so much that perhaps they are afraid that like you said, he who pays the piper calls the tune. The payer of the piper might dangle the hammer instead of the carrot.
Yes.
How do we then look at the issue of courageous broadcasting in the face of political intolerance and so on and so forth in the contemporary times?
Thank you very much. It happened once in this state to the extent that even this particular station lost huge amount of millions of naira. Not only that, because you see, that is where we should give credit to NBC, because when election is to take place, you will see rules as a reminder telling us this you must do. Record all these things, put them into record. Make sure you balance. When you are inviting a political party, you must balance them. You must not do it as if because the political power, the government that is in power, who owns the media, that you want to favor them. These are part of the rules. In fact, if they find any station that violate that, they are justified. You see, the period I was referring to, they brought an advert here. We rejected it. Millions of naira. Why? Because there has been one in Kankanwa order from there. Because you want to dance to the tune of the government in power. Because they own the media. Because of that, we lost that amount of money. Could you believe that advert was taken to another station? And when they used it, they collected the huge millions of naira. Not only that, the person that owned the advert now bought a bus and gave it to that station. Can you see? You see, that is part of the professionalism of a thing that we are talking about. Is for somebody now to go and be telling a medical doctor that when a medical doctor follows the rules of how to do his services, and then somebody will be telling, no, do it. Somebody that doesn't know how to. So when we professionalize broadcasting, nobody, in fact, it is not just anybody that will come to be either head of department or head of a station or DG or chairman. They must be core professionals. And then that core professional who knows his work and onion will be able to say that no, this thing is not right. Because even that time, they were expecting us, it was here, they were expecting us that we should follow suit to be obeying the government in power. That was why I went for my, second or third master's. Because I cannot bear it. Because I as a clergyman, I must also preserve that. People were asking for me. Then I think I was still a reverend or canon. Are you still there? With all this thing happening, we will not take the advert of one political party. We will be using that or something. And then we will be also saying something that is negative to the public just to bring down another party. I cannot bear that. I'm not the type of person that will do that. I can resign.
Is the case better now?
Exactly.
Is the case better now?
It's better. It's better because even I can see the type of program that is ongoing in OSRC. In fact, at times I will look at the station something as if am I in another station? Thank God, yes. The government does, even at the federal level. At times when you listen to Radio Nigeria or NTA, you see the type of program that they do. You will not even think that it belongs to federal government. That is how broadcasting should be. So that time when they were calling me, are you seeing this station? Look at what is happening. And I was head of program, AM, FM, television that time. So when I cannot bear it, I quickly write to go for another master's at UI. I first of all went to it. So that is just to escape.
The world is room for improvement. So they say, what are the other areas you feel should still be improved upon as far as this case in particular is concerned?
It is for whoever that is the chief executive to put down his feet that no, this is the right thing to say. Don't be afraid that probably you are going to be laid off. When you stand your chance and it is a professional, in fact, they lay you off today, tomorrow you will secure another one. There are so many jobs now. Even within the last few years that I left, I've been chief executive here, chief executive there. As at now, I am on the station, national station, board, and so on. So that is. Don't be afraid. Don't, thank God. You see, especially if it is a military era, we can say because there was a time there when they used broken bottle to even of a journalist. That era shouldn't come again. That is for the military. And such a thing should not happen during a political era. When the masses who voted you in should be given that same regard, and it should also come out in the type of programs when they offer their opinion, when they make suggestions, only don't attack. Because when we are talking about developmental journalism and peace journalism, you should allow that one also to bear. So there should be balance.
Time is not going to
side. Are you not going to give me 3 hours?
You retired. You know that's not possible. Right? You retired roughly 15 years ago or thereabouts. You've worked in the broadcast firm for roughly 50 years, so to say, because you're still part of us.
Yes,
even as a retired broadcaster. Looking back, and then now also looking at the present time, would you say you're happy where the station you pioneered as a foundation staff, where it is today? What are the highs, and then do you think there are also lows to be raised up? Let's have your view on that.
First and foremost, I am happy with the technology. Making use of the technology the better way is another. But I am happy that we technology, because in those days, even you can see the gigantic building that we have here at Orita Obele. Now, in a single room, we can use this as a studio because of technology. I am happy again that presently the government is not acting the other way against the chief executive or even some of you that are professionals in your own field. I'm happy. But we have bastardized phone program a lot. Hardly, almost about 99.1% of programs are phone-in. And secondly, presenters you try to watch. There's one announcer on NTA, oftentimes, is good as a newscaster. But you see, what we call, you can see this big notebook, programming. I have over 1,000 here, new, including old and new, that are there. You see, in creativity, you do it even in your dressing. In creativity, you do it in the method of your presentation. In creativity, you do it in the method of your production. How? For example, now, if they say that, what can you do to get 10? You can say 10 plus, 5 plus 5. You can say 11 minus 1. You can say 5 times 2. It will be arriving at what? At 10. That is how to bring in creativity to bear in whatever we do. But in a situation where, in the one I'm referring to, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. It has been ongoing for the past 3 years. A media person should know how to carve a niche in another form. Not only that, because it will be boring. At every national news at 9,
the
intro. Try to bring in new innovation. Even your style of coming, you know before. It is only sitting down. You can stand up to cast news. You can walk in. You can be there, and then it can be from any angle. Creativity, even the backdrop also must be varied. So, in the method of presentation, let us go back to the various genres of broadcasting. As I mentioned the other time, talks and fiction, music and entertainment. How many drama do we have? In those days, when we started OSTV, even on radio, when Ogbero started, you won't see anybody outside. They will be inside, wanting to listen to Ogbero by Igejombo on the radio. The same thing, when there was a program I call it Diomono, and it was the very program that even was used to celebrate the 25th year of broadcasting. It was taken to Enugu by my director, Mr. Ogedengbe. Then when we got to television now, I now created it by myself to be BOA by Alawi Apedefeyo. And don't forget also, when that program is on, in fact the person that is doing the presentation, who is the leader of the group, in all his promotion in the ministry, it is that song that we ask him to sing whenever I get to the panel of interview that we promote him. If this is a BOA, sing your song. After singing it, is promoted on and on like that. That Ediomono was the very first program they sponsor on the radio, on and on. So this type of a thing will gear up. If people can know how to do it, either you are a producer, and no producer or presenter can be sent to me. There is no program they can give me that I will not know how to marshal and do very well. That is how it should be. Okay. And that is the difference between media and other jobs.
All right. Yes, quite a lot to be extracted from you. In fact, if we engage you for 3 hours, as you said, it won't be too much. But then, for the want of time, I'm so privileged that at least I knew when you were active in service, and some of your colleagues then. I know how it obtained, and I still know what's obtainable now. You mentioned that our broadcasting should include things like documentary features and all of that. But what if what can a producer do, you understand, in a situation where there's no logistics, to carry out this assignment?
That is where technology comes in now. With technology, and that is part of it. If you could see, yes, digital production, creation, and so on and so forth. if you have your something on this thing, even editing can be perfected on your phone. And even for you to know what you want to say, if you research, if you Google easily, all this thing make all this thing easier. Like that. So we lean more on technology this day, because that one will reduce to the extent that probably there's no that, except that there should be more vehicles for you. There should be more vehicle, because for a reporter now to go outside, and it should not only be one, because you know, if events are happening at the headquarters, what if you are invited outside the headquarters, the state capital? How are you going to do it? And you don't go inside public transport with all this costly equipment, media equipment. No, in fact, it is wrong professionally that you go and board go to the motor park with your camera, reporter, and so on. No, it doesn't dignify us. Right. And I thank that because I heard that, yes, a vehicle is given to department here now. Some years back, not at all. You will check.
Let's talk about your most memorable moment on the job. Because for me now, I remember those days you tell us, "Hey, what are you people showing? This is new duty. This is," and then you censor our music log, our lineups, and all of that. We have to submit our synopsis to you before we go on there. Else we will get some spanks. Exactly. So for you, what were the high moments?
Yes, that time when I was giving that order professionally, that's how it used to be done, one way or the other. I was trying to do that in order to build you up. Then my moment of joy was when some of you were phoning me, "Oga, thank you for that time. Now I am a director. Now I am a head of a station." And when I see some of them even now becoming CEO or general manager of station. And then again, whenever I come back here, and whenever I'm hearing the story that things are improving now, unlike gagging, negative gagging, I hate that. When somebody is in charge, and then you don't want to link up with those that have passed through this system, that one is not good, because you have to share from the knowledge of others. It is then that you can grow a station. But what I'm seeing now, I am happy. See, when I look back, when I hear the story and what is happening, the other time now I was coming. Yes, these 3 stations now are here. And that is good. It will reduce the number of stress going to, because that time I will run from Obaile to Irese, especially when I was heading the AM. The same thing from when I was transferred there to go and head, I was the first to head the FM, Sunshine FM 96.5. And later again, I was transferred to come and head the television. And later I head the 3 stations, AM, FM, and television. We were running here and there, but that one now has been reduced. So I so much like, just about, was it not yesterday or day before now, Kayode Olorunfemi produced a program on radio. I recorded it and I sent it to him. I said he should keep up. I used to do it. Now that even that I'm the chairman of a Society of Nigerian Broadcasters, and also the state, and also the treasurer of Southwest Society of Nigerian Broadcasters, I belong to all, and it is my confinement, my environment, my profession. So not only OSRC, other stations, if I see they're good, I record, I send it to online and other things, and I will praise even whoever is the producer or presenter. These are my joy.
So now we get it.
It's been an interesting moment, I must say, looking at the days of yore of broadcasting on those states, 50 years down the line. Yes. Before I let you go, and on a final note now, OSRC will be celebrating this big way, 50 years of broadcasting on those states. Yes. What are your thoughts on this move by the management?
Yes, I want also further improvement. You see, your today's production must be better than that of yesterday. As good as I want to see program schedule. You can see now, this is a program schedule. This is our program schedule on those Radio Vision Corporation. This is when we mark 25th anniversary. This is NBC. This is when I was in abroad. These are the artists that I produce. This is when I was in abroad. This is Force of Nigeria. This is when 21 years of commercial radio in Nigeria, 1960 to 81. This is the General Assembly. On and on. So I want all this. This is NBC. You can see the magazine. NBC television. The NBC Nigeria Broadcasting something, and we have all the Force of Nigeria and so on.
What are your thoughts on the celebration of 50 years?
Yes, my thought is part of what I've said. Improvement to continue. And again, my thought is also that there should not be stagnancy or promotion of staff. And they should not base the promotion of staff with what is going on in the ministry, that no vacancy, even though the ministry has improved even more than here. But I thank God now that this DG here has created more avenue for people to, because there was a time that you will be stagnant for 10-12 years because there will only be one vacancy and 5 people will be qualified. Ours is different from ministry because we work throughout, including Saturday and Sunday, and then there should be special salary scale for the media.
Like you said, it would have been better that we
3 hours.
3 hours. But then it is not
3 hours marathon.
I have to thank you so very much for your time on
thank you, my brother.
Today. It's been a very moment of milking. I use the word again. Milking you on and on.
I'm always ready.
Looking into
prepared. Evidence.
Evidence. So that's what we use it for. Exactly. Evidence.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been an interesting moment.
Happy celebration
discussing the 50 years of broadcasting on those states, and well, it couldn't have been any way less. We brought a veteran in every right of the word veteran, Venerable Nelson Fadoju. Of course, I'm always careful to show that veteran. I thank you so much for your time. Very thank you for being a part of it. For my colleague, Folashade.
Yes, it's been an engaging engagement, as Sunday would say, on today's edition of AM Today, and we've taken you down the memory lane to know what broadcasting was like some 50 years ago. It was nice having you, sir. When you hear that you're being monitored, you can see, guy is recording, even while he's retired. So let's watch what we do as broadcasters, and let's be creative, as I said. Happy celebration.
Thank you very much, everyone. Please join us again for the next edition. God bless you. Have a nice day. Good morning.
Is wealth, and a healthy population remains the foundation of every thriving society. In Ondo State, under the administration of Governor Lucky Remisoy Aiyedatiwa, a transformative partnership with the World Bank is changing the face of primary healthcare delivery
from the creeks of Ilaje to the highlands of Akoko. This partnership, implemented through the State Development Agency known as IMPART, a purposeful collaboration between government, community and global development partners. Across all 18 local government areas, the story is the same: revamping and upgrading of primary healthcare centers to strengthen grassroots health systems and ensure no community is left behind. From the southern coastal settlements to the northern uplands, geography defines not just the landscape, but the level of access to healthcare itself. Each center follows a uniform design and construction standard, ensuring quality, safety, and sustainability. Key components of the upgrading include comprehensive renovation of existing facilities, construction of staff quarters, construction of security posts in every center for improved safety and monitoring, installation of solar power systems for uninterrupted 24-hour electricity, perimeter fencing for controlled access and security, provision of borehole water and recirculation systems, supply of medical equipment and furniture, distribution of tricycle ambulances for referrals, ensuring that even in remote communities, medical emergencies are not left to fate.
Requires that we construct the staff quarters, we renovate the PHC's buildings, that's the primary health building. We supply solar power, we supply ambulances, tricycle ambulances. You will see behind me, these are some of the tricycle ambulances.
Fence is also involved. As for you now, we have almost complete the fence, and fence is involved, solar is involved, gas, borehole, reticulation. So ambulance is also involved. They have some equipment, they have also to provide for the facility.
What you have seen the changes here is that when you came, you saw the staff quarters was ongoing because that one is new construction. Staff quarters was going on. I think that time it was about 50% completion. You can see for yourself now, the staff quarters is completed. It is wired, and solar system has been provided. The 1.5 kVA has been provided, and you can see the main building. The main building is equally wearing a new look, and it's being renovated, screened, painted, and we needed to maintain the minimum standard. Minimum standard is that the delivery room must have toilets. You must have 2 consulting rooms, and have to provide toilet for the male ward and the female ward. You need to provide toilet for the outpatients, and